On Christmas Day 2025, drones strike targets in Sokoto, Nigeria, but the launch point isn't Nigeria. This operation was coordinated with Nigerian military intelligence through a 24-hour ISR loop. Intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, running continuously. And it all points back to one airport in Ghana. Ghana's president said, "Ghana has not offered a military base and will not offer a military base to the United States of America." So what exactly is operating from Accra? The hub is tied to Kotoka International Airport in Accra, officially called the West Africa Logistics Network, WALN for short. One of 3 terminals at this civilian airport taken over by U.S. forces. Officially, it's framed as defense cooperation, logistics, weekly resupply from Germany, regional support, training, humanitarian relief. The kind of partnership that sounds routine. But here's the twist. The paperwork doesn't just support visits, it grants unimpeded access and control rights over agreed facilities and areas at the airport. That's not a partnership term, that's a control term. The agreement was signed May 9, 2018, entered into force May 31, 2018. And the provisions? Diplomatic-style immunity for U.S. personnel, entry without passports, just military ID cards, free access to Ghana's radio spectrum, exemption from inspections, no taxes on equipment or operations. But it goes deeper than that. Article 12 of the agreement states that U.S. aircraft, vehicles, and vessels shall be free from boarding and inspection without the consent of United States Forces authorities. That means Ghanaian authorities cannot inspect what comes in or goes out unless the U.S. allows it. Article 7 authorizes the U.S. to preposition and store defense equipment, supplies, and materiel with no restrictions. Unlimited weapons storage, unlimited ammunition, and Ghana has no inspection rights. The agreement remains in force indefinitely unless either party gives 1 year's written notice to terminate. Not 1 week, not 1 month, 1 full year. If you think that's normal, wait until you see what happens in 2019. February 2019, weekly C-17 flights begin. An AFRICOM logistics director called it basically a bus route. Arms, ammunition, supplies, supporting roughly 1,800 U.S. troops stationed across West Africa. Accra becomes the supply node for an entire regional footprint. The operations are tied to MQ-9 Reaper capability, long endurance, 27 hours in the air, service ceiling 50,000 feet, payload, Hellfire missiles, laser-guided bombs, GPS-guided munitions. This isn't just surveillance. Back in March 2018, the agreement triggered fierce debate. The vote was scheduled for March 23rd. Ghana's National Democratic Congress, the opposition, raised sovereignty concerns. They argued the deal gave away too much control. The ruling party disagreed. When the vote was called, the opposition staged a walkout. The final tally, 60 in favor, 40 opposed. The minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, said the deal mortgaged the country's sovereignty. President Nana Akufo-Addo defended it publicly. On April 5, 2018, he insisted, "It is our firm belief that the agreement will help enhance our defense capability. Ghana has not offered a military base." But Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul presented the agreement to Parliament, and the provisions speak for themselves. The ruling party pushed it through anyway. May 31, 2018, it became law. To understand why Ghana matters, you need to look north. The U.S. built a $110 million drone base in Niger, Airbase 201 near Agadez. Operational cost, $30 million a year. It was the largest U.S. Air Force construction project in history at the time. Designed for long-range ISR missions, MQ-9 Reapers operated from there for years, flying over Mali, Burkina Faso, and the broader Sahel region. July 2023 military coup. Niger's new leadership demanded the U.S. leave. The withdrawal took months. By 2024, Major General Kenneth P. Ekman, the last U.S. officer to leave Niger, oversaw the repositioning strategy. Coastal nodes become critical. Ghana becomes the anchor. Ghana's facilities are provided free under the SOFA terms, unlike Niger, where the U.S. paid for everything. So what happens when that system gets used in real combat? December 25, 2025. Strikes hit Sokoto State, northwest Nigeria. Targets: ISIS-affiliated cells, foreign fighters from Burkina Faso and Mali, the Lakurawa terror network, and elements of the Jenny Group. The operation was coordinated with Nigerian intelligence through continuous ISR architecture. Drones operating from Ghana. Naval assets in the Gulf of Guinea provided additional strike capability. The 24-hour ISR loop means continuous surveillance feeds running from ground stations in Ghana to Nigerian military intelligence and back to U.S. Africa Command. When targets were identified, the drones were already airborne. The strikes were described as surgical precision, neutralizing terror logistics hubs while claiming minimal civilian casualties. President Trump: at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum. The Defense Secretary posted, "More to come." Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs responded carefully. Nigeria maintains complete command over all security activities within its borders. International partners only provide support that aligns strictly with national priorities. At this point, the "not a base" label starts to look like a legal strategy, not a description. Let's look at what Ghana receives versus what the U.S. gets. Ghana receives $20 million in training and equipment investment. The U.S. gets exclusive terminal access, unlimited weapons storage, tax-free operations, inspection-free movement, free radio spectrum, and strike capability across the region. Ghana provides the runway, the facilities, the airspace, all free of charge. The U.S. can terminate with 1 year's notice and remove all equipment. Ghana keeps the buildings, but not the technology, not the weapons, not the intelligence infrastructure. The story isn't just about drones. It's about how agreements can transform a civilian airport into a power projection node, while leaders insist it's not a base. This is one facility in a network of 29 known U.S. military sites across 15 African countries. France maintains bases in 10 African nations. The competition for strategic positioning is intensifying, not just with European powers, but with Russian and Chinese military presence expanding across the continent. General Michael Langley, the current AFRICOM commander and the first black four-star general in Marine Corps history, now oversees operations from this network. He's publicly advocating for continued AFRICOM presence under the current administration. The Christmas Day operation demonstrates exactly why. The capability to project power across thousands of miles, respond to regional threats, and coordinate with partner nations, all from facilities that officially aren't bases. If a base can exist in all but name, who is actually in control? And how would the public ever know?